Title this is going to be Back to Basics and Understanding Your Real Problem. My name is Robert Boardman. I am a full-time network engineer at a college. It's a smaller college, so I basically run the entire network, end-to-end, so that's security to wireless. Recently, for about the last year and a half, I've been consulting on the side. And as some of you know, I kind of do a 3D printing thing. You can find me on Twitter. I have a blog, and I also co-host a YouTube channel about Wi-Fi. So come watch. We need viewers. So why we started with the basics. How many network owners do I have in here? How many people aren't consultants? They just own their own network or are part of a team that owns it. So as you guys know, we have two types of problems. The ones you inherited and the ones you created. That's the only types of problems we have. And so I got into consulting thinking that I was going to have to be Lee Badman and find bugs. Because that man finds bugs anywhere, or rare things. I wanted to find stuff that, you know. So bonus, can anybody tell me what this frame is? This packet capture, what's special about it? And it's actually legit, not created by Jake. So what medium is it using? No, I mean what? It's a PCF frame. So yeah, this was courtesy of Peter McKenzie. He actually caught it in the wild, and so that's an actual frame. So this is what I was expecting to find. I was going to go out there and I was going to be able to have tons of blog material because I would find rare problems that don't exist, or something new. Turns out this is my number one problem. So usually you see the car parked in the middle of a lane and using that as code channel. I found this, and this is 80 megahertz wide channels. This was really hard to find because in California everybody drives a smart car, so it took me a long time to find a parking picture like this. So when we talk about channel widths, do we have anybody from vendors? Any vendors? Any vendors? Can we ask why 80 megahertz is default? Okay. So, but speaking about channel widths, is there anything wrong with this right now? We're using 80 wide. Do you see anything really wrong outside of the fact that it's 80 wide? This is an actual office. So Keith always says it best, use as wide as channels as you can until you can't. So what it actually was is, here's the surrounding area. So this is a high rise in San Francisco. So you're sitting here talking about 80 wide is fine, and this was, so if you work for Meraki, yeah, thank you for that, by the way. Default, 80 wide. Out of the box, this was a small startup. They had one guy who was a server guy, who is now a networking guy, and they bought Meraki because it's easy. And they just threw it up, and they were wondering why their Zoom calls weren't working. So, so using channel widths, we need to make sure that we're using appropriate channel widths for the environment you're in. Let's see, next, power. So trying to find a really funny slide about power is really hard. So I just put up Keith's chart. So if you get these slides, you at least have one slide that has some real value to it. When I was coming up in Wi-Fi, I took an air magnet class a long time ago. And one thing the instructor said to me that always stuck to me is you never use a milliwatt more than you need. And so I like to use this example, and they always gave us the football field to show you power, but they never gave you the arena. So this is actually USC's arena, their floor plan, and it's actually scaled to the 100 yards of the football field. And that is a Meraki MR42. Can somebody tell me what power setting you think that's at? How many dBm? Because that's what Meraki uses in there. 29 is actually the highest it goes, but yeah, that's 29. So that's an arena, and 5 gigahertz too. We're not doing 2.4. What's this one? Same AP, different power setting. 1 dBm. So as you can see, and that's neg 67, that ring is 85, neg 85. So as you can see, that's an arena. A flat arena, of course, but. So power is very, very important, and when we walked into that office that I showed you, the Wi-Fi Explorer, 5 APs, all on 29 dBm. So you can imagine roaming was fun for them too. So next, we'll go talking about design and AP placement. These are all real, there's no staging. So if you look at that first one, it's the wall clock. If I have to talk about this, we're probably in the wrong conference. That second picture is literally a hockey puck that is on a floor, and not even attached to the floor, right next to a doorway, and people were kicking it around. The other end of the office, the guy wanted his own personal one, so he set it right next to his desk. And then that third one is actually frozen antennas. So I don't know if we think about water and attenuation, but how do you think that antenna is doing with all that ice? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's ice. And then we'll go into my next big problem is configuration and RRM or ARM or whatever your flavor of the week is. So this, in fact, we were recently in a hotel in San Jose and at MFD. And yeah, every single AP was on a single channel, running wild. Now, we can talk about RRM, and I'm sure, okay, who likes RRM? I do, I love it. I use it in my environment in the college all the time, but I also tune it and don't let it run wild and just say, okay, RRM, go to town. So there's nothing wrong with any of these radio resource management tools. It's just how you use them for your environment and designing to them. And then configuration. So two worst things ever invented in my mind, client load balancing and band steering. So I have had more in that office, more issues with client load balancing and Meraki, so thank you whoever the engineer was that did that, than any other problem, period. It's just so, we need to understand what these features are and not turn them on without just being like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. Because I don't know if anybody has ever seen client load balancing and you have 80 wide channels and 29 dBm of power running around in a 10,000 square foot office, you don't roam, and the AP's like, oh, you gotta go. You gotta go. So, yeah. Oh, wow, that was a lot quicker than I thought it was gonna be. So that's really kind of all I had. I just wanted to come up and talk about the fact that we sometimes forget the basics and we start looking for problems when really our problems are design or overuse of power, channel widths. Yeah, so any questions, any thoughts, yell at me and tell me I'm wrong? Jake, you've got extra time for our XSLP.
Oh boy.